Hi! In this episode, we discuss not safe for work art, so this episode might not be suitable for everyone. Audience discretion is advised. Hey! Welcome to Creative Block. We're your hosts, V.
And Sean, we interview people in the creative industries about their life, work, and hobbies while we doodle jam.
We ask people on Twitter and now Instagram and Threads. We're on Threads now, YouTube and Patreon and everywhere if they had specific topics they wanted us to discuss, as well as some drawing prompts.
Today we have with us Balak.
Hi.
Welcome.
Bonjour. I'm having my radio voice right now. I'm lowering my voice to sound sexier than I actually am. So yeah, bonjour.
I was like, you have a great podcast voice.
But before we started recording, he was talking to us like, "Hi guys, welcome. Yeah. I'm happy to be on the podcast." And now, as soon as we start rolling, he's turning up. He's turning up the sex. He's turning up the sensualness.
It's all a game. It's just pretending, you know. This is a game.
Hi, I'm Balak. Hi, it's me.
What's that, you? The little squeak?
Yes.
So, Balak, you've been like... So, it's kind of crazy. It's crazy because I've, like, known about you for, like, a super long time. I think even before I went to Gobelin, you also went to Gobelin.
Yes, a long time ago.
What year did you graduate?
When did I graduate?
Yeah.
It was in 2002, I think. Yeah, 2 or 3. I don't remember. My memory is very, very bad. So, but yeah, probably some people that are listening weren't even born when I graduated from Gobelin. So 2000. No, I'm stupid. 2006. God damn it. I'm terrible.
That's what I thought. I was like 2002. That feels like pretty like way back. Because I feel like you were that like year in Gobelin when all the shorts were put on YouTube and everybody was just kind of like, whoa, where's that coming from? You know, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was the very first time where we actually have like a direct feedback from the internet, from the shorts. Like, so we were very excited to see the actual feedback, not just from the Annecy Festival or something, but seeing, people on YouTube saying, this sucks. Oh, this is great.
And it's interesting too because so you had the feedback from YouTube, but I also remember you were on DeviantArt, and I feel like for French people, like a lot of, like I don't feel like the French community was really on DeviantArt. Like how did you become aware of DeviantArt, and when did you like go
very early on when I had the internet? It was in 2001, I think. The very first thing that I did was to hang out in message boards to put my art, so to speak, at the time out there to get feedback from the internet people. And so message board was good for that. And then you got DeviantArt too, so I can, because at the time doing a website, it was a thing. It was kind of hard, and you got this platform and message board where you can just put your drawing and get feedback on them. So it was. And also I was a avid reader of comic book readers, so I was naturally attracted to the comic book message board and something like that.
When you say comic books, you mean American comic books? Specifically. I wanted to just clarify for people listening, because in France, we call American comics.
Yes.
And in French comics we call them bande dessinée, so it's kind of like how we make the distinction. It's kind of that's really interesting. What were your favorite message boards?
Digital webbing at the time. Digital webbing and the Shane Glines message board also. I don't know, remember Shane Glines? It was like it is an artist that draws a lot in a Bruce Timm style. And digital webbing and the Shane Glines message board. That was where I used to hang out and get feedback from people I don't know and start caring about people who were thinking about me. and saying you
Just getting
suck.
shit on. Yeah.
Oh no, but actually, it was. I remember it was the first. What is the first? I don't remember Iraq War when France refused to go to war, and I was like, I got a bunch of French hating comments when it happened. Like, so I learned the word like she's eating surrender monkey very early on thanks to the internet. So that's great.
Wait, so you're saying, hold on, you're saying that like on the internet that's where you figured out that there's a little bit of like a
French
niche
hating?
of French hating people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's something
I
that's
didn't know
kind of
about that.
me neither. It's kind of interesting that when I moved to the US when I was 14, I didn't realize that like France and the US were having like
Yeah.
a hard time like
Yeah.
politically, and then a lot of people were like, yeah, a lot of people online. I mean, we're not gonna.
Yeah, we were so mad
delve.
that we changed French
Oh, yeah,
fries to
freedom
freedom
fries.
fries.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
like, and but that we didn't know about that before the Iraq War, and we're like, really? Well, what is this country? Are they like 12 or something? What the fuck is happening? So
the answer is yes. The answer is this country is 12.
But I think it's really interesting though, because you very early on showed your art globally. Like you didn't stick to just France, and I feel like now in our current age of social media and everything, now art can be seen by everybody everywhere. But I feel like back in 2008, that was like Facebook just started, right? So it was like really, really early. Okay, so there's this kind of a question I like to ask, because I remember being in Gobelin and everybody thinking our thesis film is kind of like a make or break. Like it has to be so good, because if it's not good enough, I'm never going to get a job. Did you guys have that kind of pressure as well? When
I mean, it was more like an emulation regarding, like we were seeing this previous shot, a previous short film that was done by the year before us, and there was like we were really wanted to be the one that students were talking about the year after that and the year after that. We didn't really thinking about that I didn't, because I was stupid also. I didn't think about that as a show reel thing. It was just like, let's make the most awesome movie, the movie that people will talk about in the school for years to come. Yeah, so I think it was there, that let's be the best mentality, but also the show reel thing. I think that's definitely a thing that you think about when you do a short film. But I got a lot of I was lucky enough to do a movie that didn't suck, thanks to mainly being with like a very awesome team of good people. But also I could see how it means something in the very early year, like in the year, like you got the studio noticing this film or this film, and so if you work on that film, it's an easy step in, but it doesn't last very long. Like if you don't actually do a good job on your first job, like that thing is gonna fade away pretty fast. And also I saw like some people working on movie that weren't popular at all, that actually ended up having a very, very good career. And so it's not, you're not betting everything on your student film. It's a good way to learn, though. It's a good way to learn how to work in a group. That's the most important thing, I think, and how to take criticism, how to handle different egos than yourself. That is where the learning is, I think. But I mean, you're gonna have a good short student movie or a bad one, as the saying goes, like it's all gonna pass, and you should always like try to challenge yourself anyway. So good or bad, if it's bad, you can say meh, it's okay, I can go to another project and start actually my professional life. If it's good for you. Now you have to keep up the rhythm.
Yeah. You're setting expectations for your career.
How did you deal with did you disagree with professors? Did you because when I was in school, I had things that I wanted to make that my professors did not like.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm just curious, like, did you have conflicts with, obviously you have some sensibilities in your work, that are different than what some people might make in an art school. I'm just
Oh.
curious how you handled that.
The in Gobelin, yeah. For the short film that we made with the team, like it was a pirate movie, and it was done like we have five in the group, and only two of us were like big, huge weebs. Like we love Japanese animation, and all the other guys were like really into Disney and DreamWorks and stuff. And historically, it's the how at the time the school was still very much into that. It was very recent that they start to actually open up to Japanese design, like Japanese oriented design. So it was still a struggle where you can look down when you're trying to do like anime type of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So like it was the very early on decided that we will go for a more Western feature film kind of type of animation and designs, but I was okay with that as long as we can have like some good storyboard, like are more actually Japanese influenced. But for what you were talking about, how you have to deal with sometimes, let's say the word, let's say like you got slapped in the face also during school, and some failures. And I remember one when for that specific movie, I did the first storyboard of that sucked so bad. And I remember one of the teacher, we showed the animatic, and so the teacher turned to me and say, so if I understand correctly, in that team you're the one that can fucking draw. Yeah.
Oh.
That you said that can or cannot?
Cannot.
What?
Can't.
Oh,
You're
That's crazy, because now you're this guy that I'm like, I don't know. In my perception, you're the person who's like really strong at anatomy and perspective.
Oh my
and all
God,
those, like
I'm
very technical things.
so much. No, but like actually, like I think that like it was a 3-year cursus in Gobelin, and at the end when we got our diploma, the teachers finally said to us, "My God, thank God you did awesome movies, all of you. You're actually really good. We are really proud of you, because now we can say that we got really worried the first year because you were all so bad. You were the worst class we ever had." And
Gobelin does that all the time.
Oh
They did that all the time. They did that with my class. And
they did that with you. So that's a thing.
Yeah, they do that all the time. They're like, I don't understand why all of the students, I guess we just have to pick 25 people to get into school. And it's like, dude, like friggin' Job and Kondo was like in our class, and he's like a master draftsman, and you're like,
Yeah.
what are you guys
Fuck them. Fuck them.
This is called negging.
That's actually,
when you date.
that's negging. You
It is
fucking
nagging.
assholes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if the
Okay.
school is still doing that, but I keep, man, whatever. Anyway, just
Oh
keep
my
going. I just
God.
think it's funny that
No,
they
but
do that.
For example, like the very first year, like the first month or so of exercise, I got the lowest grade.
What?
I couldn't animate. Like I mean, I was straight out. I was in college studying philosophy, and I dropped in the third year to actually draw, because I realized I didn't want to, be a teacher or something, or work in like an office job. And I was doing zines at the time, and I hang out with some people that said, you draw nice enough, you should try Gobelin. And so that was my segue to Gobelin, to meet people at parties, because I was drawing boobs in some zines. and so I just did that, but at my drawing level was very, very low. I was sucking so bad at anatomy and everything. I couldn't understand what animating was. And you had next to you at first year, you have all these people that are very good artists, very good already, that know how to animate stuff, and you're like, and I ended up like feeling like the really the ugly duckling. You when you draw as a hobby, since the childhood, you always kind of like the guy that know how to draw. So people are like, wow, I know how to draw. And so you start to believe that. And then you are suddenly surrounded by all these amazing people that actually know how to draw, and you realize like suddenly, oh my god, no, I actually suck so bad. But I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I have to keep up. But I got really depressed the first month. I was like, I was really thinking at the beginning that I was at the right place. I was feeling at home. But I realized that if I really want to keep up, I really had to, in French, we say sortir les doigts du cul.
Yeah, like stick your fingers out of your ass is the French expression to be like, you gotta start working, get your ass in gear, and yeah.
So,
but yeah.
So it was oh no, sorry, go, sorry.
No. But so I try to do that, but I'm kind of lazy and unorganized. So I at the time I just used the same thing that make me want to draw when I was a kid and then a teenage boy and everything. I didn't do the exercise that the school was saying that I should do it, and I just learned how to animate by animating boobs, because you have to find, you know, a way to understand principle, and I had to trick my brain into understanding how animation works, and boobs was the entry, and actually it worked. So animate
bouncing
boobs.
ball exercise.
Yeah, about 2 bouncing ball exercise. They're like, oh my god, you're going above and beyond. You just like, you animate the boobs first, and then you take away all the details, and you just leave the balls bouncing.
Absolutely. you go like, exactly. That's but all the basic exercise, I couldn't get into it, so I was animating a girl with a jumping rope, something, and actually understood a lot, but I got a very terrible grade because I just didn't do the exercise.
So starting off,
trick your brain.
Starting off, what was it like trying to express yourself with the sort of shorts and films that you wanted to be making? Like how much of a stigma? How much is it like, is it looked down upon, making more adult, sort of adult comedy stuff, or was that not something that you worried about, like how other people, what other people thought?
I think I didn't care about, because I had that very convenient shield, because I always drew like a very risque thing. Always drew like, since like literally I was 4, so I always took a pen to draw dicks and boobs, basically. And so it's not very noble, like, and so it's cool because nobody, that you have to not care to do that. Sure. Like you have to. So when people say you're just a pervert that draw boobs, and you're like, absolutely. That's
I can say, yeah, just own it. Okay.
And it's but it's actually, it was part of, it's integral to the my drive to draw, integral to the thing that I like to do. It's not just that, but it's so ingrained in what make me pick up a pen, that's I actually, it's also, I think it's a good way, because a lot of young artists are really into the artist thing. Am I an artist enough to do this? Am I worthy of doing that? And when your first foray into actually drawing stuff, it's just like, oh, I just want to draw boobs. It's very simple. Like it's like there's no nobility in that. There's no nobody's gonna give you a fucking medal for that. You're just here to have like a good time drawing. And so it's actually, it puts a little, I think it's pun intended, probably, it's lubing up a little bit your that very difficult thing that's gonna always come up in your career and your life. It's your ego. Like so I'm a guy that draw boob, that, and by accident I ended up by doing more stuff actually. But so I don't know. I think it's helping you, keeping yourself grounded a bit. It's only rock and roll in a way.
Yeah, I think that's like a pretty healthy view on it, because I do agree with that moment in your career, and even as an art student, where you're like, overthinking everything? Because like you said, like am I doing high art or am I doing low art? But if you like
Yeah.
start by doing low art anyway, then the stakes are not as scary. You can
Yeah.
just have fun. And I do feel like especially having a long career in the arts, it's really important to still have fun, or else it's really easy to become jaded.
Yeah.
How so thinking about like career and like being jaded and all that, like how do you what was your first job, and kind of what I guess like what was your expectation out of the industry versus what it actually is? Like I kind of wonder what was your first year after you graduated from Gobelin?
I did storyboards right away because when I was in school, also I have no idea what was the industry like. I have no idea even what I wanted to do. I only knew that I really really loved animation
Mm.
and really loved comic books. That's all I got. Like that's all I had. Like I had a very broad idea of what the industry was, but I didn't know if I wanted to be an animator, a character designer, a storyboard artist, or whatever. Like so, I discovered during the school what everything was, and that's with the storyboard exercise that I realized that oh, that's where you tell stories. That's where you actually everything that I loved in movies and animation and even in comic books, it was not so much the drawings, it
Mm.
was the way you conveying emotion. And that's why I understood that it was really what I wanted to do, like a storyboards,
Mm.
because also it was it's a place where you can do a little bit of everything without actually being super good at anything.
Yeah, I really
You don't have to be super good at background. I'm definitely not. You don't have to be a really amazing animator. You don't have to be a good character designer. You only have to care about the stories and the emotions and what you have to convey to the audience. And everything is a tool to that.
Mm.
And so and you have also that's the storyboard was a way to have a better understanding of every aspect of the industry. Actually you have a grasp on what a script is, on what animation
Mm.
is, on what an actual production is, why you should do that with that amount of money. So it's a very crucial part where storytelling and production meet,
Mhm.
and that was just fascinating. So that's where I just started to say, oh okay, drawing is not just a thing to draw boobs. You can actually tell story with
Were
About
you
boobs.
boobs.
Bad boobs.
about where that's so
So,
funny. Like when did you kind of start getting interested in like story per se? Because I feel like I don't know, I'm kind of at that moment in my career where I'm like, oh, this entire time I was excited about story, but now I start to realize you have to draw like cool drawings sometimes to prop your story up, because people
mhm.
really react positively to like a cool looking drawing.
Yeah.
But it sounds like for you were kind of like, oh, I'm really interested in like appealing drawings, things I things that I'm excited to draw, like boobs, and then you're like, oh, but maybe story. So kind of how was that progression for you? At what point of your career were you
I,
excited about diving
I
into
mean,
story?
when I was a kid, very, very early on did comic books. Like,
Okay.
it was like to do comics. I started very like, I think that so early that I didn't know how to write. I was asking my mother to put the word in the bubbles, like I was the dictator. What do you say? Yeah, put the words like nice saying the nice saying. So in a way, it's like you're always like, I always like to tell stories. So it was always there. It
Mm,
just I couldn't understand how it fits into a comic book. I can understand how to do that.
mm,
A child can understand how to do that. But what is the actual job in the industry? Oh, it's storyboard, and storyboard is actually,
mm,
um, yeah, the place where you can do the thing when you. I mean, we all love that, like comic books or animation or movies, for one reason, that is you feel things when
mm,
you read or you watch something, and when you're discovering that, oh, I can do that. I can. make people cry or laugh with the way I'm telling a story, that's mind-blowing. I think that's the most exciting thing. That's the thing that it will never get you bored or jaded. You will always be anxious, like, and it can be a joke, like a stupid little thing. Does it land? Yes, no. It can be a very dramatic moment. Will people like feel the intensity of the situation? Of will they, if a character dies, will they feel? Will they be in pain? Like, will they miss that character? And that's incredible. That when you realize that you can have that power, because you felt that, you know, how intense it can be, and so that's a tremendous thing to do, like the storytelling. I don't know what the question was.
No, like how you got interested in story. I think that's a great answer, because I feel like yeah, like storyboarding is kind of like this weird job that we kind of like fall into, because, you know, it's kind of like what you were saying, where it's like, okay, it's not exactly animating, it's not exactly comics, it's still animation, but it's, you know, so there's something that's really interesting there. And what's your, you know, and I'm interested in hearing your take on, like, when was the moment you started like writing, I guess, professionally, because you had to write professionally not only for Lastman but also for like all the series that you directed, like Peepoodoo and
Vermin.
You wrote on that as well. Yeah, that one's really cool. Also, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like a Lascar, but even crazier.
The writing thing came just because we had nobody, so we have to do that thing ourselves. No, we started like, because we did that thing in France called Les Kassos.
Yes, yeah.
Sketch thing, stupid sketch of like 30 seconds, 1 minute sketches, the sketch with the gags, and basically we had a writer that was in charge of everything, and then with Alexis Beaumont, with who we ended up doing Vermin together, we were just directors. But then eventually we were like, with comedy, timing is everything. Like the way you're saying shit can make a world of difference. Like having the word written on paper and having the word saying in a certain way, with a certain at a certain time, it's make a joke lands or not. So that's when we started to edit scripts and say, oh, we're gonna keep that, throw that away and everything. That we started to naturally write ourselves by mainly having our own method. That was we were just shooting the shit, recording ourselves with our phone, and when a joke was landing and we were laughing, we were like, okay, we're going to keep that. Very basic. And then eventually we realized it was very efficient, and so we started to write by doing gags. And then I co-wrote Lastman, the comic book, with Bastien and Michael. And then I learned a little bit more how to write by doing so. And it's comic books, so like some screenwriters I won't name in the industry will say comic books is not actually good writing, so you can fail while nobody seeing. Some people said that to me. No, I remember, like, okay, that was he knows that, so I can say that out loud. That was the guy that ended up being the head of writing in Lastman season 1. The first meeting we had, he was saying that your comic book is great. Well, it's comic book, so it's not actually writing, but it's a good material, so we can actually start to actually write. We're going to write a TV show, and so it's going to be actually writing. And I remember
that's so interesting.
And I was at the bar. It was at the bar, and I remember like just leaning to Michael and saying, I think I'm gonna punch that motherfucker in the fucking face. And I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because he's an asshole, but he's the right kind of an asshole. So I learned a lot with that motherfucker. So that was a good learning curve, and I learned a lot by doing the first season of Lastman, and also learned how hard it is, what a writing room is actually, how difficult it's to write with writers sometimes, and egos and stuff, and while being in charge of the coherence, how do you say that, with the consistency, cohesion with the comic book and everything. So it was like a huge bordel mess. But I learned a lot, and then I took that knowledge, and when we wrote Vermin with Alexis, with all these little nuggets of knowledge I learned on Lastman. So and then rinse and repeat each and every time you try to you challenge yourself to learn a little bit more. So it just happened like that.
What's your biggest takeaway from writing on Lastman season 1? Like, I would say both in writing, but also I guess in like interpersonal relationship.
The efficiency. Laurent, the head of writing, I don't know how to say that, the writing director or something, I don't know how you say, was really about efficiency. It shows, because I think that's a very, very efficient show. We have 12 minutes to do an episode, and it's like packed with, like, you learn
that's right.
to.
It's a 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's crazy, because I always think it's a 20-minute, because it's like it feels like it should be a 20-minute, but it's
There's
interesting.
no spare time on it.
Wow, 10.
Short.
Yeah, 10 is fast. Yeah,
you have to take all the fat. You have to like put away everything that is not necessary, and that's really helpful. Like especially that's a thing for a student, I would say. When you do a student film or something, that you always think that you need more time, like to tell your story. Like this is 8 minutes. Fuck you. Your first movie is not gonna be an 8-minute movie. Okay, like do it like 1 minute. 1 minute is more than enough to, oh my God, want to die. That it is like, you always, whatever you think the length of your movie or your first show should be, cut that by, oh my God, a lot. Start slow. Also, it will help you to actually achieve something, rather than go into, oh my God, I'm gonna do like this 5 minutes, 20 minutes, like a trilogy of 2 hours movie. No. Shut up. Do a 30 seconds little skit. You will learn more by doing so, that having that big project that you will never ever achieve or do.
It's really good advice.
That is so true. Yeah, that's so true. And it's so hard to do, and I wonder if there's a way, like a quick little tip to help people get things to be short, because I feel like, no, I guess you're right. I think it's just like putting the limit on yourself and being like, okay, I'm going to tell this story, but I only have 1 minute, and how do I make it fit? And I feel like just that rule is enough to get you solving this puzzle, because you're right. It's like you have,
And you know what? You will always want to compromise. You will always bargain with yourself, and not just there, but all the time. We know, like I wrote enough to know what are the traps in writing, but I know very well that I will fall into these traps again and again and again, because that's how it works, and you have to keep yourself in check. It's good to know the theory. You can learn the fucking Dan Harmon circle of whatever fuck you thing. You can learn you can know John Truby back and forth. I don't care. Yeah, great. You know stuff, you read stuff, but the moment you will be in the writing room or in front of a paper, that's where you have to that basically I'm not going to be very helpful, because writing tools like that are usually better as a postmodern thing. You vomit on the page something, and then you arrange the mess, and that's where the story tools are actually the more helpful as a postmodern. Why the fuck that story that goes nowhere? Oh, because that character's want/need isn't clear enough. Oh yeah, but this, knowing this is not, you will always try to bargain with yourself. That's the point I was making. Like you will always trick yourself by saying, oh, but no, it's going to be all right. I got this. I know. Okay, it seems a little foggy in Act 2, but I know what I know. Fuck you. If it's fucking Act 2 right now, it's because you suck. You didn't do the proper work. you will always try to cheat yourself, and it's the same. So you're going to be the one that have to keep yourself in check. If you want to achieve something, start short, 30 seconds. Oh, but I think that 35, fuck you, 30 seconds. Okay, that's
Yeah.
you have to be schizophrenic, but you have to do it, because otherwise you're going to compromise more and compromise more and compromise more, and you will wake up like 2 months, 2 years, 20 years later, and you will always have that big project that you wanted to do. Do a small little thing and start really slow. Start right, yeah, very contained. It can be an animation, 10-second animation. When you want to do so to achieve something, do that. 10, not 12, 10. And you always have to keep yourself in check. Otherwise, yeah, you're not going to do nothing worthy.
Well, I think that like with TikTok and Instagram and these like apps that they are almost incentivizing animators to make a like a 7-second thing, a 15-second thing. And I feel like when I was in school, that was like, it was like weird to release something on YouTube that was that short. It almost felt like it would be like, what? Why would you even put that on YouTube? Or like, why would you put that on Newgrounds? Or why, whatever.
Yeah, and that's where it's handy to do either comedy or porn, because they are the no, but they are the two, like they're actually very, very helpful to help you go straight to the point. You want to make something that is sexy, that people are going to be horny looking at it, or they're going to laugh. It's the most simple, humble goal that you can achieve, and nobody is going to giving you like a fucking Oscar for that. You have to make a stupid joke, or something that will get people horny, beginning by yourself, and that will actually teach you to first be honest in what you're conveying. Like, because with the horniness and funny things, the first thing that you have to do is like make yourself laugh, of be getting yourself horny. So in a way, it's a good way to reach to that emotion yourself, and then having the courage to put that out there, saying that make me laugh. I think that's hot. And so that's a very good way to start, by being honest with your work without caring too much about what clout it will get you.
It's funny how you don't want to beat around the bush to get yourself horny in art.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like,
that was
do
a
you
pun?
feel like there's a beat around the
I was just gonna let it.
Oh my gosh, Sean, I did not.
Everybody.
I can't believe that I caught that before I did. He caught the pun.
So I'm sorry. No, I apologize.
No, that was great. That's great.
It didn't deserve a laugh.
I feel like I always, like, sometimes in English, I always like have a 2 beat time to like understand the joke, and I'm like, oh wait, that was a pun.
I love that jokes in every language. I love that thing as well.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's like a similarity in porn and comedy in terms of how you set up a beat? Like, you know how comedy is like you have a setup and then you have a payoff? Do you feel like you have to do that in porn as well when you put something out?
You don't have to, but I think I don't know if that's I mean, if you want to be titillating and then having that, I mean, with I had that porn character Maxine, and we play around with that a lot. Like we were doing with my comrade co-pilot Erica, we were doing like a 15 minutes video of that character, and 10 minutes was just her talking, and then the 5 last was the actually, you know, the stuff that people paid for. But it was a nice little, like how you hold the thing, and then when it drops, it's a nice little analogy, I think. But I think porn and humor are related in more way than one.
That's so interesting. That's really interesting. And it's funny too, because you like created Peepoodoo, which is comedy, like porn comedy, which is like a very niche genre. I feel like I don't know. I guess Abichu is the only other thing I can think about. Abichu is really funny. It's I think it's one of those like animes that I like really like howled laughing because it's so good. How do you, I guess, there's multiple questions that come to mind, but I kind of want to start by asking you how you helped create Bobby Pills, I guess, because you kind of had to have a home for the project, right? And you kind of built that relationship before you came to Peepoodoo, or like how
Oh
was
yeah,
that timeline? How were you able to create that project and have a structure to make it happen?
a lot of failures.
Let's hear it all.
No, yeah, I started by I was still in school at Gobelin last year, and then and there was that little producer that little producer is very short,
The little guy.
actually. But that was trying to like it literally was this guy with another guy and no office, and they were trying to make it in the animation industry by doing kid shows. They quite very fast they saw that it was not possible. So David Alric, my boss, said at the time, okay, so we're gonna do adult animation then, but there was no market, absolutely not. So it was like, yeah, but at least if we just, it won't be like there's nobody, so we can be like in French we say Royaume des aveugles, les bandes sont rois. I don't know, you can translate that. Like when like there's nobody here, so if we are relatively not sucking, we're gonna be the best of the crowd since there's nobody here.
Yeah, because there's no competition, so you guys
There's
can
no
do
competition. Yeah, so we can fail quietly. Nobody will notice. No, so I did a bunch of pilot for him. No, none of them got picked up. It sucked. I mean,
and
it
when
really
you say
sucked.
pilot, like how far did you
Animatics.
Animatics, okay. So
Animatics,
with
yeah.
Scratch or like Final Voices, kind of tell us a little bit about what the
It
pilots.
was at the time it was just Scratch voices. I went far enough to do actually even a live action.
Oh,
A
wow.
live action pilot. That was my first foray into live action with actual actors and stuff, where I learned a lot. And I learned a lot by failing a lot because it was a disaster. But actually, yeah, that led me to actually do Les Kassos, where it was the first time where I had to direct voice actors and stuff. And by having this that experience with actual actors in live action and failing and being a very very bad director, actually, yeah, it helped me to be a less bad director with voice actors when it actually mattered. It was the right time, like to make that thing work, and it just happened. And Les Kassos ended up being a huge success in France, and it actually, but that's what kickstarted the whole Bobby Pill thing, and the fact that we could do then Peepoodoo, Vermin, and in a way also in a very different way, but it happened at the same time that the Lastman thing. So it was all happening at the same time. But people have to understand that before that in France, there was absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It was Lascar back in the days.
Yeah, it's true. Lascar was there, and that also started as a short series.
Shorts,
like,
yeah.
How do you remember how long? I'm guessing
it was 1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah. Just like Kassos, it's like starting. It's funny because so Kassos is like a parody type. A lot of the characters that are parodied, for people who are like listening, are like, it's really funny because the number one Kassos skit is the subway, the Paris subway rabbit, and it's a character that Parisians really know, but nobody else around the world know him. He's such a niche character, only in the subway. He's like a PSA bunny, but it like went super viral in France, and that got people's attention in France, and then you guys got to be on a French network. You were on TV.
Yeah.
You were not just on YouTube.
We started on YouTube. We went for on TV a bit, but yeah, it's mostly stay in a YouTube thing, or it's on the Canal Plus, the actual network, VOD. How do you say that? A video on demand thing.
Yeah.
But no, Kassos is now like it's season. It's like our own personal Simpson.
Yeah. Well, and how's
But-
can you talk about the funding for these projects or
yeah, but it's easy because the Kassos, we basically have like bupkis, like nothing, like $10, and so it allowed us to do whatever we wanted also. And
right.
Peepoodoo, on the first 3 shows that we did after that, there was a network called Black Pills, and they noticed what we did with Les Kassos, and they went, oh, so we want edgy stuff, you know, we want to do that cool new platform, like where with only, it was like the Quibi thing, you know, with like only short format because that's what youngsters want. No, they didn't, not in that way anyway, not fiction. So that was this moment where people were almost doing TikTok, but not really and stuff. So they went to us to do this adult comedy thing. Adult meaning edginess and a good amount of boobs, and we were okay with that because we love both of the things, and also we needed also to poop that out. We needed to working like I worked for 8 to 10 years in the kid industry. At some point you either go crazy, I'm sorry, that's just what I like. It's really, it can really drag you down. And you get a lot of frustration. So I saw people do as a way to say, fuck you. let's go. Let's go. The people are giving us money for doing 18 episodes in 1 year of 5 minutes. Let's fucking go and just have fun. And so that was the thing. But
I
with
think
no
what you're
money
saying
too.
is also so true, because I feel like when you compare the kids animation scene in France to the American kids animation, I think what people might not really realize here in the US is that I feel like kids animation in France is a lot younger than kids animation in the US. So in the US, if you work on the 6 to 11, which by the way is a slate that's slowly disappearing here, that's kind of what I came to the US for, and now it's kind of like they're kind of going a little bit like what France is right now, which is either super young or like adult, like you guys are doing at Bobby Pills. But I feel like France is very like almost bridge. All of the shows feel very bridge, so rather than 6 to 11. So it's important to kind of highlight, because it's like there's a lot of stuff you can't do. You can't have like character frown, you can't have them in the puddle, you can't have them on the bicycle, like, or like just a bunch of no, I mean they can be on the bicycle, but they need to have like a helmet or like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's just it's very strict. So in that, I kind of wanted to kind of highlight that, because that's a reason why you can easily go insane, because you're like, what am I doing?
the first time you get your first network notes is something like you realize, like you're actually, damn, people are that dumb. And you realize that no, that's just the way it is. Like you can do this, you can do that, you can, and okay, it's a kid show, so at some point you start to play by the rules, and you know that you're gonna have problems if you do this, do that. But the crazy part is they always find stuff, and you are like, the people that actually reviewing these shows are even more twisted than we are because they see stuff in stuff that we had never put. But you know, so it was the first thing that was actually really weird to learn when you start in that industry back in the days, like after Gobelin. When he wanted to do storyboards, I really wanted to do TV shows because I love the TV show format. And then you learn that you can't, as I said, the first thing that I wanted to do is like to convey emotions. And basically the first thing that you learn is like, no, you shouldn't convey emotion. You shouldn't have anything that can trigger anxiety or whatever. It's like, you have to go on all your storyboards to remove the frowns of the characters. They have to be concerned, not angry. They have to be this, they have to be that. They don't like nothing. I think everything has to be very tamed down. So you realize that everything that you love about storytelling and animation even, you actually can't do that in TV animation for kids back in the days. I think now, I think people have don't realize how, even for kid shows, you have it good in a way. I think that you got really quality kid shows or like all ages shows, like way better than what we used to have, I think. And yes, we actually have an industry for adult animation that is not limited to just edgy stuff or raunchy stuff, and actually right now being very edgy and very sex and everything is actually gonna get you no gigs.
Oh,
So
really? Right
oh
now?
yeah,
In
I mean,
France, would you say, or overall?
yeah, overall, I mean, that's a really a global trend, I would say. Like people do, we know that people do, we can only do that one season because we had that very specific network that nobody watched. Oh, it was like okay, let's go. I mean, I think that's, I hope they won't, the guy responsible for the network won't listen to that, probably won't. So, but it was very clear for me that, oh, these guys are giving us money to do that, they're gonna die. You know, in a year that network is dead, so we have to fucking run with the money and do whatever we can do with that, because that thing it will never happen again.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We did Vermin, Peepoodoo, and Crisis Young. And yes, indeed, these shows now, we tried, after the network died, we tried to sell them to other network. It was really, really hard. And Peepoodoo was the hardest one to sell. Like, but it was the most popular also of the three. So we did a Kickstarter and we managed to do 8 episodes of season 2.
When you say that it was the most popular, how were you guys able to measure its popularity? Because the app wasn't very popular, was it?
No, but the thing, it's on the app, it was by far the most popular.
Oh, okay, okay. So you had a little bit of numbers to back you up.
We have data like they gave us eventually, because you know, our network are very secretive with the data. But we managed to have them, and also we put the show as a whatever. Nobody's watching that app, so but we put the show on YouTube.
Did you get in trouble for putting it on YouTube? Were you?
Of course, we did.
We did. You did?
but that the crazy part, it was the idea of one of the CEO of the app that say, you know what, fuck that, let's put the show on YouTube and let's see how long it stays. And everybody's like having bets, like the 18 episode on YouTube, and we have been in bets. I was like betting like in 2 hours it's done. Some people say a day, 3 days. It lasted a month.
Really?
Before we have the 3 strikes down, like, and I was really fucking surprised. And during that month, that beautiful month on YouTube, it had like millions of views. Like the episode, that's where like a lot of people discovered the show on YouTube, and also they were that moment of, what the fuck am I watching? It's not supposed to be here. And but it lasted a whole month, and so it was like a very pirate whatever thing to do, but it worked. And then we create our own website when people can watch it on our website, and then we had an audience, like the people that watched it actually really cared for it. And when we asked for them money to do season 2, they were there, and we have like 500,000.
That's great. That's super smart, because so when you guys got struck down by YouTube, nothing really happened. It's just the show wasn't on YouTube anymore, right?
Yeah, it was like a burner phone, like, you know, like 5050.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but you guys didn't like, you didn't have, you didn't, you know, you didn't get like lawyers, or you didn't get, no, but it's really important.
No, it wasn't the official account, you know, it was like a burner, literally a burner account.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting, because I feel like this could be, I mean, not to encourage, you know, everybody to put like crazy content out there, but I mean, people
don't do this at all,
you know. But like, people was like, it's pretty, I mean, it's very not suited for work, but not safe for work, but no. it's it's got a good message behind it. Like you're about tolerance. So it's not like
it's not edgy for the sake of it's not edginess for the sake of edginess. Like it was like a very crucial thing is like that show. And also, oh, you want failure? Here's another one. Like I did the pilot of Peepoodoo by myself, took a month right before Annecy, and I was like, and I showed it to the boss and the
boss
artist
at Bobby Pills
and the artist at the studio, and I hit play and not one fucking laugh, nothing.
Oh my God.
Consternation, absolute consternation. Like it and I wanted to die. And that's actually a good thing. That's a thing that we do a lot at our studio. We do a lot of public readings, like when everybody get pitching ideas and watching the storyboards also together with everybody in the studio really. So we can see if it works. We get feedbacks for everybody. And that one was damn. Like, you know, you care to make something work, like conveying emotion and all that shit. Didn't work. Like it was just, and it didn't work for a very simple reason. It was just edginess for the sake of edginess.
Oh, right.
And it had actually really, really badly written. It was just relying on the simple concept of the show that it's like a preschool show for adults with sex and people say shit and you get dicks and voila, you got your concept, and now you're gonna laugh because there is a dick on the screen.
Yeah.
I got news for you. That's not enough, and that's also where like so that's where my boss very gently said, it sucks. We're supposed to go to Annecy. It was just right before Annecy. We're supposed to go to Annecy, but you're gonna stay there. You got a week to fix that thing.
Oh my God.
And when we come back to Annecy, we're gonna have a showing with even more people so we can watch what you come up with. And so basically I had a week to redo the whole thing, but it was animated, but I had a week to redo an animatic, basically.
Okay.
Of the first episode. Yeah. So
how long was it? Your pilot?
How long?
Yeah, like how many minutes?
It was I think 4 minutes, something like
4 minutes. Okay.
What was it like trying to pitch that and other, like I would pay to be in that room. like you taking that and trying to pitch it elsewhere and like, you know, like setting it up before you show a clip. Like what was that like?
It was like very simple. Like it was like I think I texted my boss when I got the idea. I was like, it's basically it's gonna be Dora, because the thing that we have is like, okay, we have to do 3 shows. Most of the money is gonna go to these 2 other shows like Vermin and Crisis Young, and we have to find another show where you can do that thing for no money. So I was like, okay, no money. So Peppa Pig, it looks like shit. So, you know, it looks very simple. So that doesn't, I mean, I'm sure that people doing that thing are getting a lot of money, but it definitely looks like something that costs very, very little. So that's where, okay, I'm going to do a preschool show, very badly made, but on purpose. I mean, it won't going to be on purpose because actually we won't have the money to do something good. So it's going to look like it's on purpose. And so, yeah, it went to the constraint of having no money. So having that very crude looking kid shows with no actual art direction. And so I thought about Dora the Explorer, and I said it's gonna be Dora l'exploratrice du cul, like a Dora the Explorer of, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a very, that's what you Americans call a high concept.
No, but you're so right. Like you're so like, I've been kind of trying to figure out what a high concept show is for a long time, and now I realize high concept is anything that is not The Simpsons or like, you know, I don't know, Recess. Like anything that's not a suburban show. I call them
Yeah.
suburban shows. It's like anything that's not that high concept. Yeah, yeah.
High concept. Basically, you take a banana, you take cheese, you slap them together, and you say, "Hey, banana cheese. That's my high concept."
It's
like
not supposed to go together.
yeah. but you're not gonna like it, and yeah. So I don't know.
That's so interesting. What's interesting too. I didn't know that most of the money went to Vermin and Crisis Young, and that the most successful show is the one that costs literally $0. I feel like it's always like that. It's always like that. I heard from, this is just a little segue, but I heard this is a little through the grapevines. So I'm saying it. I'm taking the hit for it, but I've heard that SpongeBob was actually a show that Nickelodeon didn't really care that much about, because it was like they didn't spend a lot of money on it. They didn't really believe in it, and they believed in Cat Dog.
Cat Dog, yeah.
Yes, they were pushing Cat Dog, and they put all the money on that show. And guess which one became famous? It's kind of interesting when you think about it.
Wonder what all that is true, because we always keen to believe like we love the underdog storytelling thing.
Yes.
The David and Goliath thing. We love that.
Yes.
The number 2 being number 1. I wonder how much of that is true. I mean, like the thing with the Peepoodoo is like, yes, definitely. I was really proud to see that very stupid, but one key ingredient, it was again the honesty of it. Like we really try to be honest, and yes, funny, and being very stupid, and very crude, but also it was the beginning of that disgusting period where we still are right now, where like freedom of speech is co-opted by the wrong people, and freedom of speech is always now becoming a bad word. Like it's like a red flag of like, oh, that's gonna be a outright motherfucker trying to being edgy and something, and like to just saying bullshit. And basically you got the that very start of the moment where like humor seems to be right wing in a way, like, oh, you can say nothing and everything. And so it was also like, okay, as long as you got your heart in the right place, I really truly believe that you can say and do whatever the fuck you want. So that was also what people was trying to be. I'm not succeeding. I'm not saying that, but that was like, no, we can still have fun and say whatever the fuck you want, as long as you know, and you actually take a lot of care in what you are trying to do. You're not just like shooting the shit for just the sake of it. Right. You have a responsibility by creating anything, true, but also you have to create an environment when you can go crazy and have fun, and that was a tricky part. I think we kind of succeeded with the first season, and actually season 2. That it was also a way to say, hey, we're here to have a laugh. It doesn't mean I don't care about your feelings. We care, and we can actually do a lot. And I was really happy to see that show was stupid, but we took a lot of care by doing that, and people, I think, understood that. And actually, I had the most touching feedback from people, unexpected feedback, because for a laugh, we say it was an educational show for adults. It actually kind of was. It was just the fun, high concept of that, but it actually kind of was, and more way than one. And we saw that show actually helped people in a way that I didn't expect. Like some people send us messages about how it helped us recover for sexual abuse, traumas, and stuff.
Really? That's great. I didn't know that. That's so interesting.
Some people say that actually resolved like something in my relationship with my boyfriend/girlfriend, and we actually find ourselves together in our own sexuality thanks to that show, thanks to that stupid laugh that we have, and actually it was a conversation starter. So all the things that we actually didn't planned, it was a beautiful gift, because again it comes with the, you say bienveillance, and you say that it's well meant, well intended. And so to some degree, it's rich. It's reaching some people. They can feel that it was well intended, and actually you wanted to have being really stupid, having a lot of fun, drawing a lot of dicks and boobs, but also that it was all in good fun, but in the good sense.
I do feel like, yeah, there was something that's interesting about Peepoodoo is that it takes kind of like, I feel like for a long time, porn and erotic topics was very like under the male gaze, kind of like patriarchy, da da da, and you guys kind of tried to break that down a little bit, and it's something that's a little bit like wider. It's not just under like a male perspective, and I think that's like really interesting.
Yeah, and also we knew what our the audience gonna be.
Oh, right.
We knew like Les Kassos, we saw with Les Kassos that was very edgy crowd humor that like young kids, like young male kids love that shit, of course. And then we knew that with Peepoodoo would be that audience is going to be like very also more juvenile than it should be, like that the law is actually allowing that. But we know that's something that it's going to attract young people, boys, and it was not about preaching to the choir. It was about, okay, you want edgy stuff, you got your edgy stuff, but at the same time, yeah, we're gonna have something very Peepoodoo is gonna be in love with a guy, a girl, whatever, and we're never gonna say, oh, Peepoodoo is like bisexual or pansexual. It's just gonna be normal in the storytelling. It's just gonna be that to convey more or less heavy-handed, some more progressive stuff to an audience that doesn't care at the beginning on that, without being too preachy. I mean, we went preachy, but you know, you're not always a good writer.
It's hard. It's hard doing like quote unquote educational stuff without being preachy. Yeah, I think and people feel like they're being preached to very easily. Like it's very very yeah. So
like almost by the medium of making something that's like nested in the framework of a children's show. Like children's shows are about lessons. Children like it's almost like something you might accidentally fall into.
Yeah, but also it was a shield also, because it's the joke.jpg kind of thing, you know. It's like that's the joke. We are over explaining things because that's the whole point, that's a joke, but also we are conveying things that are actually important. So no, I think it was also preventing, like we could allow ourselves to be sometimes a little bit on the nose, because that was the joke also.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you said you guys had no money to make any of this. How did you survive? How did you?
That's a good question. Now we survived because our boss David is something, like he always fought for the artist. He made a lot of mistakes also, like we did all the things that young artists always do and that they shouldn't. We overworked our ass, like our ass is like too much. Like the first season of Peepoodoo, I spent more time at the studio than at my own house. Like it's so but that's not good. Don't do that. Don't do this at home. But that's why right now at the studio, one of my main goals is like to actually create something that is where people don't kill themselves for like a stupid show. It requires a lot of work, because that industry is like, damn, working on his head, to be polite, on many ways, and it's so ingrained into people's mind that, oh, you have to work hard, meaning long hours, and kill yourself on the job to make things something good or worthy. That's absolutely not true. So that's a mentality. You have to always try to push back and create the right environment for that to not be the thing. in young people's mind, but also the bad habits that stick with the older people in the industry. Like, to get rid of that, it takes a lot of work.
That makes a lot of sense. It's really hard. It's really hard because it's ingrained in you in college. Like, that's what people, like the teachers and stuff, there's like this culture. I remember teachers telling us that they were like working 24/7. So then as a student, you're like, yeah, that's what I need to do. And yeah, I don't know. It's
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're trying to keep up with those people who are already more experienced than you, that you're
Yeah.
convinced are working way more than you also.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to break that cycle, and I fall
Yeah.
into that. I know you still fall into that too. Sometimes
Of
I feel like
course.
everybody does, especially when the line gets blurry in between what you're having fun doing and what you're getting
Yes.
paid
Mm,
to do. If you like
yeah.
what you're doing,
Yeah.
then you run the risk of like, oh, it's my hobby and my work, and I'm just doing
Yeah.
it all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh la la.
I don't know if there's a, yeah, it's tough because there's not like, there's not really a way around it, because I don't know. I feel like you're always taking a risk at some point when you want to make something new or something that you're
Yeah.
having fun in or like really believing in. Like, so there's always a moment, I don't know, where you're
I mean,
just, yeah.
it's really hard to say to young students or people to say, no, do your 9 to 5, have a healthy life, go touch some grass, for God's sake. Because especially like I did the exact opposite. I like, no, that's really hard for me to say. It's like being as hypocritical as fucking Miyazaki, like making movies about going to the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
like nature or something by like being having an animator slaves chained to the desk to do these movies and stuff, and being a dictator and stuff.
yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like you feel like no, I didn't. I mean, I felt when from my 20s to my 35, I'd say I was happy by being overwhelmed by work. I was happy by having like 8 gigs at the same time, like and not sleeping. But it was because you are so scared also to miss an opportunity.
Yes.
You want to grab them all. It ended badly for me. Like I did yeah, I no, but it can be very overwhelming. Like you can be crushed by exhausted, and let your social life and love life going into the shitter, because what matters is just like work. Because work is not work, it's what you like. It's drawing stuff, it's creating stories and stuff. So
Yeah.
it can go fast, but also that I know that everything that I did, all these opportunities that I took, land me somewhere eventually.
Yeah.
So that's always a tough thing to say. You're like, yeah, I overworked. I to a point of like real stupidity, putting
paid
my
off.
health,
Yeah.
putting my health, my mental health
Sure.
in jeopardy. But it paid off. That's a
Yeah.
dirty little
That's
secret
the
that
hard
you
part.
should.
That's the hard part.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
so hard. It really, yeah, it really is hard, because I feel like at the end of the day, the more stories we listen to, like on this podcast, the more we interview people, there's always a moment when you kind of have to take that leap of faith. And sometimes it's like, well, either I choose to like make zero money for a couple of years and just like, then I have a little bit more leeway in doing what I'm pursuing, or I'm pursuing a little bit more stable financial situation, but then I just got to burn the candle by both ends. And it's just, I don't, there's, there's like, yeah.
No, we shouldn't lie to people. It's not fucking easy. Like you are, yes, we shouldn't be your job, but we are. Let's face it. Like when somebody doesn't like something that I did, I take it personally. I think that I think that I'm the worst, that I suck, that I'm worthless as a person. So it's really hard to put that distance, and you have to deal with that. And you know what? It's the worst thing is it's actually the fuel of your creativity. That frustration of not being good enough, or it's of failing, and then of not or not landing that laugh or whatever, or no, I didn't get enough like in that drawing. I spent one day like drawing all the little shiny thing, and then nobody cared. Like it's eating your brain. So the thing is that you have to learn to do is to not that being something that cock blocks you. Like it should always be a fuel. You're gonna have that moment, that fuck everything moment, where I suck moment, I should quit. You're gonna get depressed for a week, a month, and eventually I think experience is like having these periods, like dealing with that, like, but they are shorter and shorter and shorter. And you know, it's like depression for all the depressed people out there. You know when it's coming, you know the sign, you know that when the panic attack is coming, you know the early sign, you know, and so you have some tricks to get, you know, to have that, poop it out of your system quickly, more quickly than the one before and the one before and the one before, and you learn to live with that. And I think it's kind of the same thing with your career. And you know, oh, that's fun. Oh, it's so fun to do this, to these little. But yeah, it's actually it's. I think it's crucial. You know, everybody feels that. By the way, I think. I mean, a lot of us feel that inadequacy and the frustration, and how to deal with that is the key.
Well, I think that sort of goes into the name of the show a little bit. We creative block and how to deal with it. And sometimes
Yes.
creative block is you not being able to come up with ideas, but sometimes creative block is, you know, feeling the effects of mental illness, wear and tear,
Yeah.
burnout, stuff like that.
Mm.
Do you have any, you know, whether it's a routine or tricks, or like what do you do when you're feeling like I have to write this joke about this wiener and I can't think of anything good.
I smoke a
You
lot of
know.
cigarette. Smoke.
The most French answer.
I smoke a lot of cigarette, and I drink a whole lot of whiskey, and then everything is fine. I smoke a lot. The cigarette part is really part of my process, actually. Like I go for a walk, you smoke, or you don't smoke, you vape, or you don't do nothing. You just walk. The walking thing is important.
Yeah, it's more about the walking. It's a little
I
bit less about the
think,
smoking, but the smoking is a nice little treat.
yeah. But yeah, just like because we sit our asses all day.
Yeah.
We have to like it's I don't know what's the kind of what's the philosopher that was doing thing, like you can't think straight by sitting down. You have to have a walk and let the idea breathe a little, like you have to allow these little moments of whatever. I'm working, I'm doing the dishes, I'm doing whatever, and then you let that your brain and unroll whatever, with no, you shouldn't push yourself too hard. Like you should let that idea breathe and have a little walk, and usually, yeah, your brain works better by walking. I think that's a very stupid advice, but yeah, get out, have a little walk around the block, smoke a cigarette or not.
So true. No,
That's good advice.
it really is. I don't know. I feel it.
Don't
It
go
just
on
works.
social fucking media though.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. I know you will do it because I do, and I shouldn't. And as I said before, we should be a very like keep ourselves in check all the time. That's part of it. Don't go on fucking social media worrying about something, the latest thing that people are angry about or are happy to be angry about would be more accurate.
Before we started the show, we were kind of like talking a little bit about social media, and I think you had like a really interesting take on it, and about how, and especially for you who has been on the internet for a very long time, like kind of what's your, now with your experience now, how do you use social media? Like how big of a part is it in your life? Do you feel like it helped you? Do you feel like kids should use it to put their out there? Like kind of what's your philosophy around social media, I guess?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
That shit is more dangerous than drugs injected right in the brain, but also it's kind of, it's useful too. Like it's a very dangerous thing, I'd say. because it's actually you should be out there. You should put your work out there. You should get feedback out there. It's good fuel, but way too easily we get dragged by the negativity because that's the main fuel of this thing. That those things are only driven by negativity. That's where they made the bread and butter with, and it works like a charm. Like nobody's better than another one. Like we see something that feels juicy and dirty, and we're gonna watch and we're gonna see what's wrong. Oh, who did that person? What did he say? What did he do? We want to know. We want to see the dirt, and it's gonna take up your mental space. It shouldn't. I mean, yeah, I have to consume that thing. I went also being a public figure. I have to be on the other side of the thing and see people pile on you because you like. It's really really weird to see all that gleeful hate. That's usually is even more disgusting that it stands on some high moral ground. Yeah, that's a tricky part. Don't to not let that eat your brain is really hard. But also, it's a good way to promote your stuff. It's a good way to like Peepoodoo with the audience they had on my social media. It helped us to get some money. It helped us to so it's a very dangerous thing, a very important thing. And I don't have a good answer for that question. How do you deal with that? You have to deal with that. You can also choose to not deal with that. I know people that are not doing like I have a very, very fruitful career and they have no social media. They just do good work. They just like go from studio to studio. That's the thing that I say to usually to young students that are obsessed with the numbers of the likes, of the followers. There is like a competition now during in class.
Oh, really?
There is like you get that people or he or she got that many followers. Like you get like so he's a kind of an influencer in a way.
Interesting.
Is more in sync with what works right now. And it's not social media that brings that. It's always been there, but it's really amping that up so much that it's definitely not good for their brain.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Mental
health. Yeah, that's the worst thing. That's the people that are using the most the social media, and I'm one of them, are the one that shouldn't. That's the people that have mental health issue. Like I'm one of them. Like it's like but basically it makes sense. It was made by people that were inadequate socially. Like Mark Zuckerberg is not a normal person. He's not and it's thriving on our health issues, and it's made for us, and we are actually not getting better for it, like mentally and physically. It's not making us saner in a way. I don't know.
But then it also had some like positive effects because these people who like reached out to you guys and said that Peepoodoo helped them through sexual trauma. I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why it's so important. Like it's not all bad and it's all good. But the bad and the good it's like in a toxic relationship,
Yes.
You're not, when you say, it's like the low are so low, but the high are so high. And like, dude, that's not good for you. Yeah, but I know.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's what social media is like. The low are hollow, like the good stuff are really good, that the advancement on every aspect and everything, but the lows are awful. It's very toxic.
Well, it sounds like sometimes all you can control is what you put into it. Like,
of course,
and that's why you get positive responses back, is because you're putting something good into it. I mean, vulgar, but good intentions, and and I think that's important, for people to take away from it.
You also have to learn to shut the fuck up with social media. That's what I learned, because I opened my mouth way too much on many, like I was one of those, like oh, Donald Trump sucks. Oh, good. Fuck you. Like, good. Did I need to hear that? I don't know. Like, I was opening my mouth on every other subject and everything, and it was not good because by doing so, I was getting dragged into conversation and stuff. Where I would be better off, actually, I don't know, working, doing my things, like getting over with that page on Lastman. I wasn't succeeded to do it, but no, my brain was obsessed with that latest arguments that I was having on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. That's awful. That's all right.
It's really interesting. No, yeah, it's really interesting to think about, learning to not, because you have to engage on social media, but you also need to learn to not engage. Because I realized every time, like, I don't know, for us, when I was on Thundercats Roar, I was like, we actually weathered the hate storm pretty well because we managed to like not engaged. But it can be really hard because sometimes someone will manage to push that button in you. It happened once. One person said something and I was like, oh no, they don't. Type. And then I was like, I regretted it immediately because I was like, no, they're a troll. Yeah, it's not gonna solve anything. It's like it's hard to be in control of
so hard because also these people are basically so good at handling that hate, and they are like black belts.
So normal.
It's not. It's they are usually they are black belts of social media discourse that basically. And so if you try to engage, that the crucial mistake is to think that this is a conversation. It's never a conversation. Never. Like, you're not going to say something that is going to actually, like, it's going to be meaningful for the advancement of somebody or whatever. No, it's a circus. It's basically games. It's games for people. It's entertainment. Like, you're in the shitter taking a shit. You're on your social media, oh, that people is actually getting roasted by that crowd, whatever, like that. That's just tea, as the youngsters say. Like, they love their tea. And that's just it. There is and I especially hate it when you get people using that by, again, standing on some higher than you kind of behavior and try it. So because it's just the same hate. Like, I got dragged by people from every side, like alt-right people, progressive people, and Peepoodoo I was expecting like to be torn apart by both sides. Actually, it didn't kind of happen.
That's so interesting.
It's I mean, you always have people that will hate whatever you do, but it was like in a nice little middle ground. So I guess I'm a fence-sitter. But it was nice to actually be in that mentality that we can we can laugh with people with slightly different opinions, and it's okay. And actually, like, to be bring together is cool. I don't know, I'm ranting too much.
Well, I was curious if it because some of the things that you make, I could imagine being polarizing, like, you know, some like very Christian mother in the Mothers Association of Christianity stumbled across your work and was like, you know, my dumb little kid thought this was a kid's cartoon, and now he's seen a penis. He knows what a penis is, and like, have you ever had like people like campaign against you or tried to get you, like,
don't jinx me. Like, it didn't happen yet, but you said that and it's gonna happen. But no, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. It didn't happen yet.
It sounds like the right people have found your work, and those are the people that want to find what you're doing.
That's why that's why you don't want to be too popular, because eventually the wrong people are gonna find you.
That's so interesting, because we've had a guest previously also say the same thing. It's like, you want to be popular enough that you can make a little bit of money, but you don't want to be too popular, because then like it becomes super crazy.
No, and also people get more angry at you. The more popular you are, you get more hate just because you make something that people like, and so it can drive
Yeah.
people even more nuts. They don't care about what you do. They care about the fact that people like what you do.
Right.
That's a huge part of the social media thing also. Like, yeah.
We have like a ton of questions from listeners, so we're gonna try. Everybody, we're gonna try to get through all of them, but there's a lot.
Do we want to
so
do
we might have to...
speed round? Do we want to do like short answers kind of thing?
It's
Okay,
either
it's
you do
already
short
like...
answers, or if you're really inspired, you can just like
Yeah, sure.
talk a lot about a subject, and then I'll just kind of pick and choose. But I think what's really interesting is that we have a lot of questions that are kind of a variation of this one. So from @Dominica9SFM, how do you network as an 18+ creator? My experience being a writer animator. Oh, my experience being an cross 18 writer animator is that aside from models and VAs, artists stick to their own brands, and there's not many chances to collaborate. Do you have any advice for artists to join or make their own bobby pills?
Damn, that's a long one.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah, I
sum
guess...
that up? My brain is too dumb.
No. Yeah, it's also like it's also pretty late in France, and you've had a long day. But basically, it's like, I guess the first part is really interesting, which is how do you network as an 18+ creator? Like, because you have a presence online that is 18+. Like, do you feel like that kind of got in the way for you? Do you feel like that helped you sometimes? And how do you manage that?
That's a very crucial question, because when I graduated from Gobelin, the first thing that people from the studio said to me, okay, you have to really edit your show reel and your your portfolio and stuff, because it's not gonna fly for... But it didn't happen. I mean, I didn't want to go to Pixar stuff, but I wanted to work on TV animation. So at the time it was kid shows, but I think it didn't matter. I think it's still the case that if you... I mean, we obviously don't put on your portfolio like all your furry porn on page 1 or something, but I don't know. It's never been a problem for me, but again, that's me.
It's also in France. I want to tell people also listening that France is a lot more... what's the word? Like laid back. Yeah, laid back. I think people in France know that the art you draw is not who you are as a person. You know, like there's no moral... there's a lot less moral judgment, I would say.
I would say so. I mean, I know for a fact, but again, I'm not a good example. But when I review a portfolio and I see like more risky stuff, you're only looking at the skills, you know. So, but I know for a fact that's a thing that is said to students, like by my comrade Erika. That was the first thing that the teacher said, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't put that on your portfolio if you want to find job in this or this or that. I actually, I don't know if that's true. In France, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's and even like today when I work like on the Superman opening. And I share that on my Twitter or something, but I still like posting boobs on this very same Twitter.
Like, yeah, did you get any comments about that? Did you get people a little bit mad at you because you were able to work on like a mainstream show, but you also have this like 18+ presence?
It was the opposite. Like,
cool.
No, I'm actually super happy about that, because when we worked on the Invincible trailer of the season 2 also a few months back, at the very same time, we were doing that at the same time at the Superman opening, and when it went online, there was like that whole that porn dude did Invincible trailer like on season 2, but it was not like it disgusting. It was like, that's cool. Like and also I got a lot of people that are NSFW artists that only do porn, but they can feel stranded in that thing, and they were like, it actually, no, it means that it's not like a stigma. You can actually land gigs in the industry while also being a porn artist in a way. I mean, I know for a fact that here, I don't think we care in France. I think it could be, I mean, in Japan, certainly not. Like a lot of people have no idea that a lot of animators that they like or artists they like actually started even by doing porn or did porn at some point. It's very, very normal over there. But I won't sugarcoat the thing also, because porn will always be a stigma, whatever you do. It's always be a cross that you have to bear. You have to be comfortable with that. It's not easy also to say, yeah, I do porn, so what?
Oh yeah, you mean it's not easy to not care. It's yeah.
It's not something that I want to say, oh, people will never care. Of course you will. People will look down at you because you do. I do the worst kind of porn. I don't do aesthetic porn or erotic. I think big titties anime girls, like that's bottom of the barrel thing, and furry too. So like, you know, like you're like, yeah, it's basically written on my forehead, pervert. so you know, it's something like you have to be comfortable with, like saying, yes, I like cocks and tits, and also, but it's not defining me 100%. As I'd say, to the fuel, but it's not defining me. So but I realized that actually, and Peepoodoo is a testimony of that, people are actually very comfortable with sex, with the sexual things, like people try to, like, the network think that no, it's problematic to do sexy things, but actually people, I mean, we all have a relation to sexuality to some point, and to see maybe artists playing that in a more relaxed, laid back way, it will help to say it's just, you know, a kinky thing. I don't know. Also, we have to be reminded that the very first artist of Superman in the 30s was doing BDSM porn also. Like it's every artist at some point did porn. All your favorite artists, like have some very naughty drawings also in there.
That would make sense, honestly. I don't think it's, I actually wonder if there's any artist out there who's never drawn a naughty drawing. You know what I mean?
I know some.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I'm always surprised. Like a really good artist, like that never drew porn for even for themselves. Like as soon, like when I realized, when I was like, I don't remember how old I was, like I actually can draw a zizi, a dick, and I can see, I can draw a boob. I was like, I'm God. I can. Oh my God, I got the full power of creation and I don't know.
It's so funny. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting take on that, because I know that's like also a question that we've had for a long time from our listeners. So I'm really glad to like get your perspective on that. And I think it's really true. I feel like you kind of touched on this question a little bit when you were talking about how you were going insane a little bit working in kids cartoons, but from at one cartoon, they asked what's it like being an 18 plus artist in the field of mostly safer work artists?
Sorry, I made the mistake of drawing a thing and I didn't get the last bit of the question.
It's all good. What's it like being an 18 plus artist in a field where most artists are safe for work?
Feels good, man.
You like it?
Nice.
No, that's pretty cool. Also, like I like the fact that because there are a lot of really, really amazing 18 plus artists out there, and also when I started Peepoodoo, I was not into the furry crowd at all. Furry was not just like a thing that I knew about, but Peepoodoo was the first time that I looked into that. But actually, it's just for you to realize how stupid I was. I realized by episode 2 of Peepoodoo that I was doing a furry show. Like it didn't occur to me before. Like I'm just doing funny animals with dicks, and then somebody said, "Oh, you're doing a furry show." Like, what? I guess I am. And so I looked into the furry artists and stuff, and damn, there's some amazing artists. And in porn, like I'm following a lot of porn artists and they are really technically amazing. And so like animators also that are doing porn, and they also have a way to sustain themselves thanks to OnlyFans and Patreon and stuff like that. And so that's really cool. But that's a shame if they think that they can only do that, because a lot of these people have actually a lot of technical skills. I think the safest way would be like for them to have like a alias, a porn alias or something, and then you can. I mean, a lot of people are already doing that, but
yeah,
I think porn, especially these days, like porn artists, they are not looked frowned upon so much, I guess, in the art community. Like it's more. I think people are more okay with that. I may be wrong, but it feels like it. Again, so I'm biased because I'm like swimming in porn.
Well, I think people, if they don't want to see it, they just don't follow it, and that's I think it's just you curate what art you see on social media for the most part. I mean, it doesn't always work that way, but
yeah, I think as long as you kind of like labeled it correctly, I feel like on your Twitter or like your bios, it has like the little 18 plus. So it's kind of like, it's like, you know what you're getting, you're not like hiding it or whatever. So like people can't really be mad because it's like, well, it was there.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think on my Twitter, even if I can because it's Twitter, but I will never, I think I won't be posting actual hardcore porn on my Twitter. Like it's gonna be like mostly pinups and stuff. I used to have a Tumblr back in the days. It was easy for that to put the more like hardcore, but yeah, I think even if I mean I rarely I rarely draw porn lately. It was a part like really of my artistic balance to have that little moment of breathing, but like lately not so much, so I don't have to post that anywhere. But I think I will keep it like more cheesecake right now actually on my Twitter. And if I really want to post porn again, I will do a separate account with like the more risky stuff.
I don't know how much you can talk about this, but when leading up to the interview, we were talking about you landing a couple of gigs through Bobby Pills with American studios. Can you tell us a little bit what the process is like? Like, did like American studios reach out to you through Bobby Pills? Did they reach out to you personally, like for these?
Depends. No, mostly for Bobby Pills. It depends. For Invincible, like I knew Robert Kirkman because he's the one like is actually publishing Lastman in English right now in the US.
Cool. Okay.
So that's how we met. But then also we get the Invisible gig also because we met one of the producer of Skybound and so yeah, mostly through Bobby Pills. But I really feel like Bobby Pills is so much my home. Like to me, it's not I can't make the difference no more between me and that studio. That's not good. That's toxic too, I guess.
No, but it's a really interesting thing to talk about because the studio is also a structure that shows that you have a team and you have people that you can hire. I feel like when you're just by yourself, it's a little bit more of a risk, I guess, for studio because then it's like for like the legal framework and all of that stuff and like your resources, I guess. So
yeah, but I think that like studios also that just wanted to hire me to do a gig, like a storyboard gig or like a whatever gig. I couldn't because I'm like full time a creative director at Bobby Pills, so I couldn't like do as many gigs as I wanted. So, but the one that we landed were really like a collaborative effort of the Bobby Pills people. So yeah. So the one we're working on right now, the Creature Commandos.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it first on Creative Block.
Exclusive.
No, but I remember because when I was at I was sitting down at one of those like Cartoon Network, HBO, WB showcase. Like they do these, they're internal. So like these are like kind of like for employee people. And I saw one of your animation tests. And I saw the style and I'm like, well, that's Balak. I know like this is the animation style. This is, yeah, it's like, it's, you know, you see it and I'm like, well, I know who did this.
Oh my God.
And everybody was like clapping and cheering because the animation's great. And there's not like, the animation that is done on project like Lastman and you know like what you did for Superman and everything, it's kind of like this like blend of anime and Western, you know, that is really hard for a lot of people to replicate. So it's kind of it's its own style. And people got really excited about, you know, how it looks.
Oh, that was the early little test, like to tackle what the show could be. So right now we are like full on trying to make that work because, as you say, it's ambitious.
Yeah.
Something that we're not used to see or make. But no, that's we are working full time, literally doing on that show. I can't say much, of course, about it, but I will just say that, and it sounds like a very commercial thing to say, or very like a American thing to say, but the scripts are really fucking amazing. Like James Gunn in the fucking genius. Like it sounds like Rick, I'm sucking his dick because of course he's doing the show, but as a storyboard artist, like I have my fair share of bad scripts to deal with, and damn, that's a blessing to read that type of writing. Like it is really fucking good. So it's really exciting to work on that show also for that. Like we have good scripts, great scripts, and great characters. And it's, you know what I said about you do that job because you want people to feel things, to laugh, to cry, to feel things. Damn, that's the dream job for that, like that show. Like it's really hitting the mark for me. I mean, like it's really, it looks like a show that was tailor-made for me. Like it was like, oh great, it's thank you, Papa. Thank you, Papa Gun. You did my fanfic of whatever I like to see in a show. So that's really nice. Actually,
I don't know. I wasn't really familiar with this work before Peacemaker, and my boyfriend put on Peacemaker and I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then I started watching and I was like, okay, this is really good. It's really funny, it's really campy, and he does this thing where he takes this superhero Peacemaker who's like an absolute asshole, but he makes him very endearing and shows that there's room to grow for him. So you're like, oh, okay, I can get behind this character because that character has to grow, and I'm seeing through the story he has to grow and he's gonna do that. So it's really interesting. It's really smart.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for Creature Commandos.
Yeah. And then the theme you got throughout his career, like you got very strong theme that you can see, and I like how he did that again with Creature Commandos. I don't know. Oh shit, I can't say thing except it fucking rocks. Like I really hope we're gonna be up to the task to make that show as good as it is on paper.
I think I'm really excited because the animation is gonna look fucking awesome. Because it looked like Lastman. You guys, so when they reached out to you guys, when there's a big project like that, they reached out to Bobby Pills. What is the conversation like? Do you guys have to be like, oh, we've made all of these shows and that's why you can trust us, or like, do you have a little bit of like a moment when you have to kind of be like, you should, we're going to be great to work together? Like what's that moment when like a project starts to form like that?
I mean it's like every day we learn to work together like
Yeah.
and it's like, no, it's actually pretty cool. Like we got like a really cool relationship with people at Warner. Damn, I really talk like a fucking no, yes man. But no, actually pretty cool, because that's the first time we are working on that type of big project with a big American client. So we have our own ways to do things at Bobby Pills that are our way to do storytelling and to do animation. And the cool thing is like yeah, they are really listening to what we do. We also adapting to what the American workflow is. So no, it's a good trade. And they actually, I mean, the trust, like we went through the development stage, and are we connecting with the tone of the show, with the is the so it was just like the normal steps of like you do something, you send something, and they say yes, good, no, up, redo that, then rinse and repeat, and yeah, and we're gonna see the result if we succeed or not in a few. I would say no, nothing. I wouldn't say nothing.
Yeah, sorry. I know I'm asking these questions. I just think it's so interesting to hear like French talent working with American studios. It's always kind of been a little bit of my dream as, you know, someone who like studied in France, graduated from France, and worked here a little bit. And I really want to see more of that collaboration between the big American studios and the French talent, because I think there's a ton of like great stuff that can happen that way. So that's why I'm asking the questions. I'm getting distracted. There's so many questions from the fans,
so
and
many
we have
questions,
to answer.
yeah.
Oh shit! It's been 12 hours already.
Yeah. We're keeping you on so long.
I know.
But it's just really fun.
As you notice, I like to talk. I like the sound of my own voice.
It's getting deeper again.
Yeah. That's what she said. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had to say
No,
that.
it was good. You paid me back for what I said earlier. That was good.
We had someone ask, it's really funny. This is just a really funny question. I'm going to find their name, but basically they asked, why do you draw yourself as a little fat bald guy?
Because I'm fat and bald.
You guys can't see this video at home, but he is only one of those.
One of those what?
He's only one of those descriptions.
Okay. I'm bold. No. To me, it's like I'm cute when I'm drawing.
Yeah.
I draw myself cute. You know, like a chibi version, and like so. I'm one of those. You know, there is some kind of a rule, like when the ugliest you are, the cute, so you draw yourself like a chibi shishi kind of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, gorgeous people actually, when they're drawing themselves, they look disgusting. You know, I don't know if that's a rule, but I noticed that. Like I saw people drawing themselves really disgusting, ugly, and I saw them, God fucking fuck you. You look great, and yeah, and that's a way for me to think that I'm cute when I'm not.
I've been trying to model my real life proportions into sort of like a chibi stature.
Oh, nice.
You know, that's I've been trying to become it in real life. So I just I mean, if I shaved, I would look straight up like a baby, like just like a little, like my proportions are just like a baby.
I mean, you are cute.
Thank you.
You have that cute vibe. Like when I look like a fucking asshole all the time. That I got always frowning and saying fuck with a cigarette.
That's so funny. So you heard it here, people. Balak thinks he is
disgusting.
And thinks I'm cute. Thank you, guys.
This is the start.
This has been creative block.
Creative block content. I think, yeah, it's okay. This is a really fun question because I feel like there's so many different influences in your style, and I kind of want to know how you're gonna answer this. So from at Irrelevant Nut, art-wise, what piece of media or artist has influenced you so much that it helped define your art style?
Damn, there's so many, dude. Like you're the sum of all the as Mark Waid said, we are standing on the shoulders of the giant that came before us. And I said, Mark, that's beautiful. So the I don't know. I think bande dessinée wise, it was André Franquin and Thomas Henry. So that's the Spirou. I don't know if Americans know about Spirou, probably not.
Not really. Yeah,
not
it's kind
really.
of funny.
It's Belgium thing, and then I would say the mangoes. Rumiko Takahashi to me was the one that really it's the artist. She did Ranma, Inuyasha, Maison Ikoku, stuff like that. That's the thing. That's the first thing that when I was 11, 12, that when I started to do comics, I redid a version of Maison Ikoku and Ranma in comic books, like copied over and over and over again, the storyline, the characters, and by doing my version comic book wise of those comic books of mangoes. So Rumiko Takahashi, Spirou, and then comic books, so much. I don't know, the Image comic books from the 90s, like those things like G. Scott Campbell, Joe Madureira, and the one with the boobs, tiny colors, like the 90s, like super cheesecake, violent, but cool, very 90s comic book. Eric Larson, like Savage Dragon, this type of crowd. That the three kind of thing that defined around 12 my style, and then I only did that.
Well, it's funny because there's this like negative perception around fan art, and I have young artists approach me all the time, and they're like, "Is it okay if I draw fan art?" But I mean, like, heard it straight from you. That's like how you learn. You try to replicate things that you like,
course.
and I mean,
of course. Damn. No, I mean, you spend so much time. I spend so much time copying and copying and copying, tracing even all the things that I liked. That's the way. I don't know. That's the way for you to help yourself realize, oh damn, they do it. That's why I like it like that. That's what I enjoy in that drawing, is because it's that shape. I remember I got a very specific artwork of Sonic the Hedgehog I enjoyed, and it totally makes sense that I was copying these ones rather than the other ones, because it was more dynamic and everything, and it ended up being in my wrist at some point, in my brain. When you're copying stuff, you really enjoy that drawing, and so you are getting some you are learning why it's appealing to you by doing so, I guess. So I mean, copying stuff and doing fan arts, it's a way, because it's a very obvious way to do the thing that we all do by creating something. We create something because we really enjoy the show or a book that made us feel things, so we want to create something that does the same. And like doing a fan art is like to re-experience that pleasure of this moment that you spent with these characters and stuff. So that's very, very cool, and you have to do that. Don't let people say don't do that.
I agree. I feel like, I wish, I love every time we have a guest who says that, because I wish I had known earlier as an artist that copying is okay, because I feel like especially in animation, because you do a lot of copying, you copy like the model sheets and stuff. So
god damn it, please, can we put to rest that extremely stupid thing of young people that like say that using reference is cheating, like tracing is absolutely fucking, this is, god damn it, sorry, it get me really angry, because as you said, in animation you have to use model sheets and stuff, and I see people like, for example, the Superman opening, that I worked on. The again, dick sucking thing, but the team that work on that show is so good. Like every one of them, they are amazing artists. When I received the model sheets and everything, it was, I was in awe by how great it was. And Jack Wyatt is amazing. And yeah, you know, with dick sucking, duck sucking. But yeah, and I had these amazing model sheets with these amazing characters, and I traced like a motherfucker when I had to do the animation. Of course, I'm not gonna fucking figure out in the short amount of time that we had, like how to learn to draw. Like, no, it's there on every angle, and then I have to adapt to what I have to do, the emotion that I have to convey in these scenes, but it's all there. So you're gonna trace. And if you're working on my show and I have a model sheet that is, or model pack that is very precise and that you don't trace, I'm gonna slap you in the face. As I like, use that. It's there for a reason. It's there for you to get this character right. So trace, especially at the beginning, and maybe eventually, if the production is lasting long enough, you're gonna start to have them like in your wrist at some point.
Right.
But
Yeah.
please, you just have to trace. And also, animation is all about cheating. You have to cheat your way to get that shot out of the wood. You have to cheat your way to get that background out of the wood. Use 3D. Use yourself. I spend all my time taking picture of myself, my hand, Erica, whatever. Any, like I go to the studio and I need a reference pose, and I grab an animator, whoever, like a production guy said, like, okay, on your knees. What? On your knees, I say. I have to take a picture of somebody kneeling down. So it can lead to some innuendos, but like the you know, that you're always taking pictures using reference, and all the time. I'd rather have somebody that works clever and efficiently like that than having like somebody that thinks it has to be a fucking genius that knows to draw everything because starting to actually draw something. So it's all about efficiency, really, at the end of the day. Like, use every shortcuts you can, really, to get the shot done in the quality that is going to be unparalleled to having your ass sitting, try to figure out how to get that pose from your head to the paper, per se. There's no paper no more.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like starting to look up references is such a time saver. Like, even for like, I don't know, like comics and backgrounds, and you're like,
Of
okay, I
course.
know they have to be in a hospital, but like I want it to be realistic enough. So Google hospital entrance, and then you kind of get these details down real fast.
Oh yeah. You're not supposed to know a fucking hospital. Did you saw that tutorial? I don't know what that did, that tutorial, that the shrimp tutorial.
Oh wait, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like I said, like it's like you start by drawing the shrimp a bunch of times, and then you kind of like stylize it in your style, and you can stop like looking at the reference.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like you okay, draw a shrimp, draw a shrimp without reference.
Oh yeah.
Just go. Oh damn, I don't know. Like, and you try to draw a shrimp, and then use a fucking picture. You fucking idiot. Like, you don't know. We don't know how to draw everything. I mean, our hands are in front of our face every single day. I'm still taking picture of my hands to get them right on a certain angle or something. Like, you know, you get your little shortcuts to make some hands easily, like for storyboarding and stuff. But sometimes you need to have that hand right. So I'm taking a picture and I'm looking at it, and I'm tracing the hand roughly, and then I remove the picture, and then I'm putting back the action, the line of action, and like to synthesize them and everything. But I'm not starting from scratch. I mean, again, I don't consider myself as a great artist, like a with technician. I always try to find the best way to get my point. And since storytelling is the thing that interests me the most, I won't spend a lifetime figuring out backgrounds. I'm gonna use like pictures, references, 3D to help me get there. and I will actually learn way more than by doing so, that doing it from scratch, actually. But again, that's a very generalist approach, I guess, maybe of drawings.
I might just do a shout out for everybody just because we had so many questions, but
I'm talking too much.
No,
we,
I took us on a tangent with that fan art thing. It's a good conversation, but I
it's
did
just like
take us on a tangent.
yeah, it's just like there's just so much to cover. It's also the thing, you know, when we get guests who have had like a long career, it's just there's so much to cover that you're like, I just,
44.
you know. You know, you want to talk about everything, and you're also like at a point in your career that's like super interesting right now, because not only have you like really helped build Bobby Pills with like all these like the adult animation, but you're also like kind of like supervising directing right now, which is really really interesting. And so it's like a lot of different topics that are like that each like deserve their own episode, but you know, we try to put as much as we can.
I spend 90% of the time talking about boobs. Yeah.
That's why people are here. you gotta lure them in with the boobs.
And complain about social media. Damn, I told you that was a waste of time on social media. But there you go. In action. Right there.
In action. But I do think it's an interesting take, because I do think, like, I don't know. I do like talking about it because it's such a big part of our lives as artists. You know, like it's hard to not talk about
protect your mental health. That's the main takeaway. Like, protect yourself. Like, for that, don't look at a thing that you know is bad for you. I know it's hard. I mean, I'm smoking a cigarette right now, so I'm the one to talk. But you know, that shit is bad for you. Like, when you, as you said, when you get the urge to answer back to somebody that is saying fuck you and I hate you, and what do you think about this? You should answer about that. Don't do it. Go touch some grass.
I mean, we've kind of talked about this a tiny little bit, but I want to go a little bit more in depth about this question from Toy Drill, who says, I've never been so excited for a Creative Block episode. So I'm really glad. So the question is, how does working on projects based in the US differ from the pipeline in France?
When it's more about, I think, like doing everything in house, as we do in Bobby Pills. Like, we have a full grasp on the workflow and the pipeline, and how we can fix things like with a very small crew. I think it's more that is the difference when you're working like with a big studio and stuff. Like, because it's basically the same when I was working on kid shows. Like, it was like the same, basically very very similar workflow. But yeah, it's mostly how you deal with when you have to delegate more with the bigger staff. We did recently our first big show in-house, entirely made in France, in Bobby Pills. That's going to be out this fall on Netflix, where I was a creative director and storyboard supervisor on it. That's called Captain Leatherhawk.
Yeah, I can't wait. I need to get Mehdi on the podcast.
Mehdi le Fad.
Yes.
Mehdi. Yes.
That's so
the director of the show, and we worked really really hard on that show. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned the hard way that handling that type of monster of a show, but the result is amazing. Like, I'm really really proud. And also, you will hear that beautiful French accent, because I'm actually voice acting in that show too.
Oh, really?
That's a cool thing with Bobby Pills. Like, everybody does a little bit of everything. Like, a lot of animators are also voice actors. A lot of directors are writers. Like, a lot of people that started that background can pitch ideas of shows. Like, it's a very everybody can do a little bit of everything. So that's a really cool part of that studio. Everything is like, everybody can pitch in, basically, and then try out. Oh, you do music? Okay, let's try. I can do the music for that show then, and that's the cool part. It's less, I think, hierarchical than an actual production.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's sort of my style. I like that. I like that a lot.
Ah, that's the way to go. I mean, you get that student film vibe. Uh, we have to get rid of the bad part of the student film thing that is the disorganization and you know the. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there, and the learning curve is hard, but I'm really proud of what we're doing at Bobby Pills and the way we are organizing ourselves because really we got a goal. I'm going to say it. We got a goal. We really want to change that industry. That's the main goal. We want
yeah.
to, yeah. Oh,
I feel, yeah, it's so
that's
exciting.
very
What you guys,
humble.
I no, but you guys are doing like what's really interesting is that you guys are like kind of putting down that first stone with Captain Laserhawk, and then you're gonna have Creature Commandos coming out, and then that's gonna be like two big friggin' amazing. Like I don't know, I'm really excited for both of them. I think it's people are gonna be because a lot of people ask about Lastman and they want to watch Lastman, but it's really hard to find, and I don't think people can even watch it in the US.
In the US, I don't know. Damn, I actually don't know where it's at. Like, yeah, it was in South America available. It was on Verve for a good bunch of time, like a small platform that did a really awesome dub of that show. But yeah, it's I just don't know. I just don't know.
We have a great question from, I was looking for that one through the document, from at Pat, who asks, do you find that being a multidisciplined in mediums, subject matter, like comics, animation, music, etc., helps in broadening your creative scope and keeping you fulfilled in terms of always having something new to learn?
Yes. Yes, it helps a lot. I think that's also the key, especially right now with like, you know, the AI scare coming. When you know your career, your center of interest is very specific, like and you realize that, oh my god, eventually maybe a computer can do that. It can be scary, so you have to diversify. I guess that the key is like to and again, like to broaden your creative perspective is good. Like when for example, I do music a lot since my teenage days, and I never thought it would be useful. It was just a creative output for me, but actually it was very useful on every level when you're working in animation to do music. So yeah, to diversify your creative interest, even if you don't think it's going to be useful, it always is at some level. So yeah,
I love that. Like following, I feel like, yeah, following a hobby. I feel like we've had a couple of guests too that were just kind of like, oh yeah, I just started doing music on the side for, you know, to have something else to do that's not drawing, and then it becomes like, yeah, a really like good outlet, and then to be and then you can use it for your job.
Yeah, that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, so we have a couple of questions from our patrons, from Ajax the Abrasive, Joe Benson. Hi, Joe. He's asking one, how's Maxine doing?
Maxine was, as I said, the porn project that I had for 2 years. It was actually one of those times, like Bobby Pills at the time, the network closed, and we were in that weird time where we're developing shows. They tried to sell shows, and nobody wanted them, and so I had to pay the bills, my bills at some point, and so it was during the first lockdown. With I realized that there was the OnlyFans boom, and so I had that character that I used to draw, and I just tested it, and yeah, it was actually it worked. Like people actually pay for porn, and actually the people that pay for porn are actually very very nice people, and they are like, I don't know. I retweeted that lately, like somebody, a porn artist, that said the NSFW consumers, the one that actually pay, you know, that following artists and supporting artists, are actually the best fucking crowd. They're the best one. You don't have an hint of toxicity you find in kid shows fandoms or more respectable shows fandom, or any shows fandom, really, when you see people ripping their throat about the most stupid thing. And no, it's super respectful in the SFW community. The people that are actually supporting artists are supporting the artists with their money, and they are supporting artists with they are acknowledging the work more than in any other field, I would say. So, and Maxine was like, people create a very deep relationship with that character, because she was also more than hentai porn model, and they felt that also. They felt that it was an actual character that we created with Ciara, the voice actress, and Erika. And then it gathered a huge following, and yeah, we sustained that for 2 years. But at some point we had new shows and new opportunities to work on, and so we had to let her go. But the crazy part is, like, she helped us to refine new ways of animating, new ways of seeing workflow and pipelines. It was basically paid R&D for us.
Oh, wow.
We're
So cool.
able to R&Ding new stuff using 3D or new techniques. So it was actually really, really fulfilling. But yeah, it was at some point we had to let her go. She will come back eventually at some point, because like that's crazy, because that's a character that I really love in a way. Like it's and I think that people love her for the same reason. Yes, she had big boobs, but I think they can feel that there's more to that. So
what's her personality like? What was kind of like?
She's super positive. She's super kinky, of course. But no, I think yeah, she had a very happy-go-lucky, but not dumb. She's very strong. She's a mix also of all the people that worked on that character, like Erika especially, and all the persons. I don't know. I think it all boils down to what I said at the beginning. Like I think honesty pays off. We're not doing that for the money. We're doing that because we genuinely love the character. We love to see how people are interacting with her. We are happy when we are seeing that people are getting horny for her, but also caring about her. So that's so yeah. So she will come back eventually.
That's so cool. I feel like yeah, that's so cool that you guys like had this little project together, and that like it helped you tide over like a pandemic too, like brought a little bit of like sunshine.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. Are there any plans for another Peepoodoo, for another season of that?
No. No, not yet. Like as I said, like we have this Creature Commando thing, and then after that, we got more. Thank God, I'm knocking on wood, but we got more projects that are really exciting, where we are broadening our view of adult animation, because
awesome.
So there's like 2 things specifically, like I'm working on also preparing for the after Creature Commandos that I'm super excited about, and Peepoodoo doesn't fit in that, so sadly.
I think we kind of like hit most of the. I feel like a lot of questions had similar themes. So I feel like we hit most of the big themes, but I think this is a question I think is so funny from Vlashikito. Why so much sex?
Why so much sex?
Why so much sex?
Why so much sex?
I don't know. But thank God there is so much sex, because we are here.
Yeah.
The
origin of life.
At some point, our parents didn't ask themselves that question, and boom, we're here to complain about so much sex. I don't know. Yeah, no, but it's as I said, like at the beginning, it's the drive, the drive of my whole career. So I can, like, if you would take that out, everything falls apart. You know, and actually super happy with the Superman opening, because when we added little things here and there at the animation stage, that the wink that Superman does at the beginning. Like I really wanted people to feel the little horny.
It works. Everybody,
And
it's so funny. Everybody went insane over the wink. The wink was so good, dude. It was so good.
No, but that was like when I did that, like I was like, as I said, like when anything you do, you do things, you write things, you do whatever, and then you test that on yourself. And I do that little wink, and I went, that's it's cute, damn. And then I showed that to to Erica, and then to the assistant animators and everything. And each time I was waiting when it comes, it does the wink, and each time people were like, "Oh, that's like, oh, damn, it's cute." and I was like super happy, and so that when Jake said that, it did the same for him, and people, and now I see online that people are really responding to that stupid little wink. I'm happy because I put a little bit of honey into soup, and people feel that, so I'm happy about that.
That's so funny. I always wondered about that wink. You heard it here first, folks. On Creative Block.
The wink was intended to horn you up.
It was supposed to trigger a little bit something in you, like to see that that Boy Scout is the Man of Steel.
I love this so much. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Well, we are talking about an opening, but we are unfortunately having to go into an ending of a show.
Oh, and then
every good thing must come in an end. I mean, to an end. And this podcast is no different. Thank you, Balak, for being a guest and sharing your story. And thanks to our listeners. Follow us on Twitter at Creative Block, where we ask for drawing prompts and questions to ask our guests. Huge thanks to our editor Clements for editing the podcast and Marco for helping us produce the show. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure.
It was a great pleasure.
If you love our show, you can either support us on Patreon, where you would get early access to interviews as well as bonus episodes, or you can support us by subscribing or commenting or sharing the podcast
on our OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
That would be so crazy if like we had like the
Creative Block OnlyFans.
Yeah. What would we even do?
Do it.
No.
That's ready. Yeah, that's where this episode is getting posted. It's only able to go on OnlyFans.
Click the link in the description of this episode. I've been your host, B.
And I was and still continue to be Sean. Keep being creative, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.